Hi, I'm Rob and this is Gems of War. In this video I'll be showing my Soulforge review, what is good and bad in the Soulforge this week, and also the Stormchasers Song, the world event, my team from there, and how to use them. I'll be showing a team that is non-mythic, and also a team that is non-mythic and non-legendary as well, and this is going to be an ongoing thing. I want to try and accommodate for the newer, lower level players as well, and show teams that helps them out in a big way as well. So I'll be showing that as well. So be sure to subscribe if you want to catch those teams in the future, because otherwise you may miss them and you don't want that. But first of all, the Soulforge review. Let's go over that quickly. Start with the weapons. Staff of the Wild removes all brown gems and deals damage to an enemy boosted by gems removed, and double damage if they're from Wild Plains. Nothing special there. Horn Cleaver deals damage to an enemy boosted by Tauros allies, and then another one of these ones that creates a mix of green and brown in this case for each Tauros allies. I don't find these weapons that reliable, and you need an all Tauros team for them to have any chance of working at all. They're okay, but not essential. All these ones are there all the time anyway, so they're in previous videos, so no need to go over them. Rage Reaver's not there all the time. Deals splash damage to an enemy and creates 4 red gems boosted by Tauros allies. It's not bad. It can be pretty good and dangerous in a all Tauros team. So to be considered, but not essential. Primal Axe, another one of these ones that deals damage to an enemy boosted by Wild Plains allies, and then that usual mix of, in this case, green and red gems for each Wild Plain ally. Doomed Maul. I don't really like these doomed weapons that don't change the colour to Doom Skulls. The doomed weapons that change a certain colour to Doom Skulls are far more effective than these type of ones. So I'd hold on to your diamonds, to be honest, and wait for one of those doomed weapons that deals more damage. Duskbringer's okay, and is there often, as is Trick and Treat. It was there last week, so I've got that in last week's Soulforge review. But Wild Cleaver is new this week and really good. Explodes a bunch of green gems and grants a random status effect to all Wild Plains allies, and summons a Wild Plains troop. So that's really good. I already crafted it, and I'm going to be using it in this week's event. Alright, let's go over the troops and see what we've got here. All these ones are there normally anyway, so no big deal there. They're in previous Soulforge reviews as well. Now, Scroll Reborn creates 5 yellow gems and converts all yellow gems to Doom Skulls and summons 1 to 3 wargs. It's not bad, but, but you can't really take a chance on casting that spell unless you can see for certain those yellow gems to Doom Skulls are going to do a 4 match, because otherwise you're going to set up the opponent in a really, really big way. It does have a summon. It's okay. The traits are nothing special, so not really worth crafting for me. Just see if he pops up in a chest. The Archduke deals a decent amount of damage, I suppose, to an enemy, and then there's a percentage chance equal to his magic to destroy them, and if they die, summon a Lemure. So nothing special. His 3rd trait helps out with his spell slightly, gains 3 magic when his turn begins, but to get that to a reliable level where that's going to be worth casting is going to take too long, so I don't really rate this guy that much, because his magic's 30, and on the first turn it'll change to 33, so by the time you've got him cast, he might be on 40, so yeah, you've got less than a 50-50 chance of destroying them. So it's a difficult one to do, because basically if he was in a team where someone else could increase his magic, like a Shabani Vespero or something like that, and you could get him charged quickly and get Shabani Vespero, for example, cast on him quickly, then maybe, but basically he needs the whole team working around him to make him work, so I wouldn't craft that one, to be honest. Iron Hawk is interesting because as a troop on its own, probably not worth crafting. It can do a lot of heavy damage, especially with certain other troops. Like I show a team in my other videos below where I use Iron Hawk with an Uberstet, and it works really well because Iron Hawk tends to do a lot of heavy damage to the first troop and gets them within Uberstet's kill range. And with Uberstet, you do damage, and if you kill the first opponent, you automatically kill a second one as well. So Iron Hawk is good for that, but its spell is a little bit unreliable. Sometimes it can do a surprisingly small amount of damage, and doesn't work out as well as you think it might. But his main point, one of his main things, is that third trait. You may not think so initially, but deal 5 damage to all enemies when an ally casts a spell is actually really, really handy. I show this Ironhawk troop in a really quick level 1 explore team, which is good for Nomapalooza as well. And basically you use Ironhawk with the Dust Devil, or 2 Dust Devils. You cast Dust Devil twice and you win the game as quickly as that. If you had 2 Ironhawks, then it becomes crazy fast, because you get 2 lots with that artillery support that deal 5 damage, now gets applied twice. You kill the team instantly. On level 1 explore, most games are done with a single cast of Dust Devil, who starts with full mana. So you start the game, cast Dust Devil, the game ends. It's literally that simple when you've got 2 of these Ironhawks. So it is good for that, and that will work on Nomapalooza as well. So that's really worth considering just for that super fast explore and Nomapalooza element. Who else have we got on Mythic? Shade of Zorn. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by red allies and skulls. If the enemy dies, summon 2 Fists of Zorn. Nothing great. The traits aren't fantastic, but yeah, wait for him to pop up in chests. Unlike Arachnian Weaver, who is superb and still half price. Just go get this guy right now. If you don't have him, he's amazing. Webs all enemies, deals a bunch of damage to the last 2 enemies, and if an enemy dies, explode 15 gems. I've done a couple of teams in my videos below, just how to use this guy really properly. He's absolutely superb. One of the best mythic troops in the game. A fantastic set of traits, especially that third one, Creeping Doom. 75% chance to summon a web spinner when an enemy dies. Now web spinner, if you got it traded on all 3 traits, does triple skull damage. That just one shot so many opponents. That is a super dangerous troop to have in first place, which it will be when it summons. And that's a trait on Arachnian Weaver. That's really good. And he's half price. Just a no-brainer. Go get him if you haven't already. Elemogrim. He's a bit naff really. Deals damage to all enemies. Not that much either. And creates 9 purple gems boosted by burning enemies. Well, no big deal. When you consider what damage the troops that are lower level than this, like King Gobtroff do, like Queen Beatrix do, and they've got other elements to their spells as well, which are better than that. Yeah, nah, not for me. Now onto the legendaries. I don't normally recommend crafting legendaries. They pop up in chests, so much better to wait for them like that. Carnex is okay. It's like a low level Ironhawk really. Creates 5 skulls and explodes them skulls. Gains some armor. Does do some handy damage sometime, but none of these are worth crafting for me. Sylastasia creates 9 gems of a chosen ally's mana colour and cleanses and gives 32 life to them, so it's just a life-giving spell really, not that useful. Can be in some teams, but you know, it needs to work in a certain way with other teams, but it's not a sort of thing I would say is worth crafting. So Quentin Hadley is actually quite useful. Converts purple gems to yellow and green gems to skulls, and deals damage to 2 random enemies. So not bad, but the best thing about him is his third trait as well. All knight allies start with 50% mana. So in an all knight team, that could be really good. All knight's going to start with 50%, and you're going to get that nice convert to skulls and purple to yellow at the same time, as well as doing damage. So not bad at all. Basilisk, that can be okay actually. Like you take a look at it. Like deals, in my case, 29 true damage to an enemy. If the enemy is poisoned, deal double damage. Then deal 29 true damage again. If they are stunned, deal double damage. So that's going to scale a lot. That can be a lot of damage. And part of that, his spell is aided by his traits. Stun a random enemy when matching brown gems. So, yeah. And he's also venomous, so poison enemies when doing skull damage. So by having him traded up, that damage can be quite heavy. So he's not too bad, but I still wouldn't craft him. And that is it. Now onto the weapons quickly. Staff of the Wild removes all brown gems, deals damage to an enemy boosted by the gems removed. And if they're from wild plains, deal double damage. Meh, nah, don't bother. Only get these sort of things if you're completist, have got all the other weapons, and you just need and it's just there, and you've got the resources left over. Horn Cleaver deals damage to an enemy boosted by Tauros allies, then creates a mix of 6 green and brown gems for each Tauros allies. Now, even in a team of all Tauros allies, I'm still not finding these weapons that reliable when it comes to casting. The idea of these is that you create a load of green and brown because you've got an all Tauros team to charge everybody up. And the amount of times it still doesn't work for me is unreal, so I'm not particularly a fan of these weapons. These ones are here in previous Soulforge reviews, so no need to repeat them. Rage Reaver's not there all the time though. Deals splash damage to an enemy and creates 4 red gems, boosted again by Tauros allies. That is pretty decent, not bad. Can be effective in some teams, but you do need to base it around an all Tauros team again to get it to work efficiently. Primal Axe, another one of these ones with a mix of green and red. Yeah, whatever. Doomed Maul. These ones are okay. It deals heavy splash damage to an enemy, +4 per tempering level, and stuns all red enemies, and then cleanses all red allies, and explodes 4 gems. So it can be good, but generally I recommend saving my diamonds for the doomed weapons that do more damage, like the ones that have the damage and then they change a certain like a certain colour to a doom skull. They're way better than these other doomed weapons that don't do that. So I'd hang around and save my diamonds for the doomed weapons that change a certain gem to a doom skull. The rest of them are there. Here, Dustbringer is there most times. Wild Cleaver is new, and I bought this one already. This is really good. It explodes a bunch of green gems, grants a random status effect to all Wild Plains allies, and has a summon as well. So very good, and I've actually bought that already, and I'm going to be using that in the event team, which I will show. And Trick and Treat's been there the last week or two and is in previous videos. So there it is. Now let's do the event itself. Perfect Storm is the new troop we have. It's actually quite interesting actually, because if you look at its spell, destroy 1 row for each elemental enemy, then deal 37 scatter damage. Now this I find really interesting because the elemental class is a new class coming along soon, and there's already some very powerful elemental teams out there, and with the elemental class it's going to make the elementals even more powerful. So I see this guy as the first in probably a small string of troops that are anti-elemental, if you know what I mean, like a team you can build around it designed to combat these elemental teams we're about to be faced with. Because when you get an elemental team you're going to fight against, they're typically going to be 4 elementals on the same team. So that's going to be destroy 4 rows. That is a ton of mana. That's going to be really good. And just give me an idea on the fly, because I was already going to make some videos showing some really powerful all elemental teams when the elemental class comes out. But with this guy here now as well, I'm also now decided I will show some teams using this guy, which is anti-elemental, how to use this troop to combat these super powerful elemental teams we're no doubt going to come across. And I'm going to take it one step further as well. I'll then show some elemental teams that combat the teams that I've created for this guy to combat the elemental teams, if that makes any sense. Anyway, right, so yeah, he's them, he's him, I've already got him, he's good. Now to the actual event itself. Stormchasers Song. Right, we are going to be the Shaman class, because that is the class that Wild Plains troops are from, and we want a 50% start. But who goes with them? Like, I'll show the class quickly. Like Shaman, I've got to work on this one. It's on a low level still, but we get a 50% start, which is nice. And there's a couple of other traits are handy as well. And in the talent trees, gone for +4 attack, counter attack, root trap, entangle the first enemy at the start is always nice. Create a leaf storm at the start so we get lots of green. All troops gain 4 armor, and the rest I haven't done yet. But just pick whichever one makes a lot of sense to you. Like, I would probably have Bloodthirsty on level 70 if you've got it, and Bull General on level 100 if you're on that level already. Now for the other troops to complement this. Now you'll notice on a lot of these troops in Wild Plains, a lot of them do this 50% chance to hit the wrong enemy thing, or that's another one, the chance to hit the wrong enemy, or they have this thing where they just hit one enemy boosted by their attack, life and armor. There's an awful lot of these troops do that same thing, what we want for this to make it speedy is someone that does splash damage. I'm not going to use any mythic troops in this game. King Manos is a legendary, but I will show a non-legendary team as well. I'm going to pop him in there for now because he's pretty decent. Deals heavy splash damage to an enemy, stuns all enemies affected, then jumbles the enemy team. And if you choose to change class to this, the good thing about him is all Tauros allies start with 50% mana as well, so you don't need this class to actually benefit from that if you don't want to. If you don't have King Manos, who's a legendary, and you only have less than legendary troops, then Mechatol might be a good way to go. He deals 32 splash damage in my case, boosted by his armor, and there are independent 30% chances to silence each affected enemy, which is pretty cool. When an enemy is silenced, they cannot cast a spell or collect mana. So if you don't have King Manos, and I'd grab Mechatol. Another good possibility is Midswarm. Midswarm. Did I just say what I think I said? I think I might have done. Apologies for that. Even though what I think I just said may be a good spell to be affected by. I think a lot of people wouldn't complain about that. But yeah, deals a certain amount of scatter damage to all enemies twice. So this is pretty cool. You could have 3 of them. That may be effective. Maybe worth experimenting with based on your level. If you don't have King Manos, like I say, then a few Mechators might work as well. Or 2 Mechators and 1 Midswarm. But I'm going to do a little bit of a mix. I'm going to chuck Midswarm in there as well, just for fun. Ordinarily, if you've got the troops, I would go Wild Cleaver, and then I'll probably go 3 King Manos. If you've got 3 King Manos, that is going to be the quickest way to do this event, I think. But for variety's sake and showing a few different troops for potentially newer players, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Banners wise, we're not using purple on this team. So for that reason, I love the Maze banner. It's still the only one, I think, in the game where you get +2 benefits to 2 different colours. And if you don't use purple, but you use green and you use red, it's always a good way to go. So we're going to do that. Right. Now the battle itself. Oh, I forgot to mention the shop. I always recommend buying the first couple of levels if you can, because you get the potion of enchantment and a potion of explosion, as well as you get the badges which upgrade the damage you do per spell. And as you can see, we're already nearly charged. We now cast our new weapon, which has charged up everybody. As you can see, I've missed the first few levels out because they are super easy. Now, the good thing about having Midswarm, I've got to really concentrate on what I'm saying now on that. Midswarm on the side is, because it does scatter damage twice, something like this, because it's splash damage and it has to be adjacent. If I cast that, that will actually miss that last opponent. I did that on purpose, because splash damage has to be completely adjacent. So when you kill somebody by someone like King Manos, there's nobody either side anymore, where scatter damage does actually, it doesn't actually matter where they are on the board. So we can do this and that will kill them. So that's actually quite a good idea to have Midswarm in the team, I think. So let's do that again. Yes. Midswarm. It's Midswarm, Rob, not the other one. Right, so we've got our weapon charged straight away, so we can cast that immediately. And then we cast King Manos on the middle opponent, so we get the splash damage either side. And that does the trick. I'll change the team around in a minute and just take out King Manos just to see how it's affected when he's not there. Yeah, but with him in there, he does a lot of damage and it's really good. When you kill someone like that and it's jumbled the board around, it's still okay to cast the second one on the middle, because he still affects all the other teams. And when Midswarm there does that damage, it doesn't matter that they're separated, they're still going to be got. Alright, I'm going to play around with a couple of teams already, just for effect, just to show newer players who may not have King Manos other possibilities. Let's go with full-on mid swarm and see how this affects it. Because we're still going to get the 50% start, you see, from our trait, so shouldn't be too much slower. And let's see how that affects it. Always good to show a few possibilities. Alright, we're one brown match and one blue match away from getting our Cleaver charged. And now we've got loads of green there, which we left on purpose because we'll now charge up everybody really, really quickly, hopefully. Right, here we go. Let's cast the first one. And that is done. And we had a second one lined up as well. So yeah, this could be actually quite quick. Let's see how far we can go with this midge swarm. Cast that immediately. There's two of them charged up. On these lower level ones, it's going to be instant death to the other team as soon as you cast it. So this could work for quite some time actually. Because if you get the badge and you remember to apply it in your medals, like if you get the first couple of levels in the shop. So I cast that twice. I've done a fair amount. And then we cast the third one. Yes, that was still pretty good. Like I was saying, yeah, don't forget to apply the medal if you have it for the event as soon as you buy the first couple of levels from the shop, which I always recommend. I always get the first couple. The first one gives you just basic stuff. With the second one, I think it goes to 40% increased damage. But if you really want to make short work of this event, then get the third level as well if you can, because that badge is going to convert to a medal, and then you're going to do a huge amount of extra bonus damage. I've left it on this for the minute because I don't want to scale it out of control, so then it makes it unrealistic for other players that can't afford that third level. And they get to see what it's like on a lower level. Right, let's get that charged first. We'll save the cast on our hero weapon until we've cast these two. That should charge up people quickly, but we didn't need it. Yeah, it is actually working very well. The way I compare these weapons now, there was a weapon came out last week that done a similar thing. It exploded a bunch of gems and done other effects as well. Like for a long time, something like Mountain Crusher has been a long time favourite of people. All that does is explode a load of brown gems, but these new weapons that are coming along, for just 3 more mana cost, I think it is, they explode a load of gems as well and have all these other extra effects as well. It's just superb. They really are good. Pardon me. Yeah, if a weapon came along which done that for brown, if there's not one already, then that pretty much is going to make Mountain Crusher defunct, basically. Good old Mountain Crusher will no longer be a regular thing we see. Just too good. When you've got like, obviously Mountain Crusher has been good for a long time, but just explodes brown gems. But if they released a weapon like that exploded brown gems, if it's not there already, then, and it gave people a status effect like this does, and had a summon, it's an absolute no-brainer to have that in a team. But again, I say defunct, but the good thing about Mountain Crusher is it uses brown only, where these use 2 colours, which actually can be a bad thing sometimes because it's going to block certain other colours. So yeah, maybe not as defunct as I just said. We'll always have a place somewhere, hopefully. Right, so this Midge Swarm one works pretty well so far. Just see in a minute. I'm just going to change the Mechator. Oops, wrong button. What am I doing? Getting blue. Get this because I get a purple 4 match as well. So this is where it's going to slow down a bit, where they start getting a higher level. It's still pretty quick, because that's charged everyone up straight away again. Could have got that 4 match, but no need. As soon as we cast these two, it's going to be done. That's still not bad. Right, so let's see how it's affected now when I swap out one of them for a Mechator, because we're still pretending I don't have King Minos. Well, if you have Mechator, the chances are you'll have more than one, and I would... No, you don't want more than one of them, because it lessens the effect of our wild Cleaver. Who else is green? Nope, that's not that great. Skeleros could be good, but he's not green, so ignore that. No, so let's try this with one Mechator now. So let's imagine you've only got a couple of midge swarms. And just do a couple more rounds and call it a day, because sure you get the idea. Right, in this sort of way you would start by casting him straight away, then would cast Midge Swarm, explode our Cleaver. That's a good thing about having another troop like that, is we're using a couple of extra colours, so we do actually benefit from the explosion of the Cleaver more. Alright, that's going to take them right down, and then Midge Swarm can finish off. Right, I'll just do one more and then we'll call it a day, because lots of different teams to try there. Like, as I say, if you had the King Minos, I would just go Cleaver, then 3 times King Minos. Really, really good. I will wait one round and then cast King Manos first to do some damage from the start. I always cast the splash damage ones in a place where they're going to affect other people at the same time, other troops. Cast the second one and they're nearly gone. That explosion is going to sort out one. And they got hit by some sort of reflect, I think. Right, so there it is. So yeah. Cleaver, first place. If you've got King Manos, go 3 times King Manos. If you haven't got Manos, Mechator is really good, and Midge Swarm as well. So there's the video. If you found it useful or helpful, it'd be cool if you pressed the like and subscribe button, because it really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye for now.